So I got a feedback that the English grade 1 test papers were proving very tough for the students at Orchids, the international school. So I decided to have a look and decided to solve those test paper. This one specifically, the exam for which took place somewhere in September 2024 at Orchids, the international school, grade 1. My daughter studies over there in grade 1. So the total time given for this question paper is 60 minutes. And remember, these are 6 years old or 6.5 years old, so keep that in mind. Rimjim scored 24 out of 30, which is not bad, but is lesser than what she's been scoring in Hindi and maths, which is really 100%. So let's see what she was up to. So the section A starts with some questions based on a story which has been taught to the students. The story is called The Magic Kettle. So I might as well tell you the story quickly. So there's a Japanese old man, and I actually had to read the story in the textbook. So there's a Japanese old man who discovers a kettle, and when he takes his kettle in his house, it suddenly turns into a naughty small Japanese raccoon dog, which makes a lot of noise. So the old man gets scared and calls a neighbor, and with the help of the neighbor, they manage to put the raccoon inside a chest. The old man, of course, has wants nothing to do with his raccoon, so he calls a hawker called Jimmu and wants to sell this raccoon dog in the chest to Jimmu. So he gives the chest to Jimmu, and when Jimmu opens the chest, he finds that there was a kettle inside. So the dog had converted back to the kettle. Anyway, so Jimmu uses this kettle, which converts into raccoon and vice versa, as a magic trick, and makes a lot of money and then gives some part of the money to the old man, who thanks him profusely. That's the simple story, really. So let's see the questions. So, what did the old man find in the garden? Naturally, it was a kettle and not a vase. So, Rimjim has got this right. So, it looks like she understood the story properly and understands that the kettle was the object involved. So, she's got that right. Uh, what woke Jimmu? When Jimmu the hawker had taken the chest, and suddenly it turned into a raccoon dog. So this raccoon dog which made a lot of noise. So Jimmu the hawker was woken up by the strange noise, and not a strange sight. He was woken up by a strange noise of the raccoon dog. So Rimjim has got that right as well, which is fantastic. Easy questions. The key thing is that the students are expected to understand the story and keep it in their head before coming to this examination. And that's quite a lot for a 6-year-old. So kudos. Let's look at the next question on the same story. Why did the neighbor come to the old man's house? Uh, so the old man, was scared because of that raccoon dog. And the raccoon dog, by the way, in the story is called a tanuki. It seems to be a Japanese word. So, the old man had called his neighbor to have a look at it. So naturally, the answer for this is the neighbor came to the old man's house on his request to capture that raccoon dog or tanuki. So Rimjim remembers this well as well, and not to see the kettle, but to capture that raccoon dog, which is called tanuki. So good for Rimjim. She remembers the story, understands it completely, and she's able to understand the questions also, and then use the questions logic and correlate it to the story and see the answers over here and choose the right one, which is, I think, a lot to do for a 6-year-old. So Orchids, the international school, is really setting up their questions and posing a lot of challenge to the students. And if the students don't understand the story or have not read the story properly, then there is no way that they can get it right apart from luck. And then, suddenly there's a question which just doesn't make sense in the middle, because all the questions for right now are coming from the story, and suddenly there's a question out here which I think is quite dumb. It says, answer in one word, where does a boy sit? The answer is actually given out here, and then you have to fill up the blank. The boy sits halfway down the stairs. The halfway down is already written out here. So what kind of a question is this? This seems to be some kind of a dumb question, and it is not even related to the story for which the other questions are being lined up. So I don't know, maybe this is a misprint or something, but either way, Rimjim has done the right thing over here. Anyway, continuing with the story, what was missing when Jimmu opened the chest? Now, this was a tricky bit. When I read the story, So Jimu expected that when the chest would be opened, he would find uh, he would find uh, the tanuki or the raccoon dog over there. But instead, he found the kettle because tanuki had converted itself into the kettle. So what was missing? It has to be the raccoon dog or tanuki. So when Jimu opened the chest, the correct answer should have been tanuki. But looks like Rimjim completely got confused over there, either with the story or with the way the question has been framed, because it's got a little bit of logic associated with it. You open the chest, what is missing inside it, what is present inside it, what was earlier present over there, all that looks like it, confused Rimjim quite a bit. And she wrote nowhere. I think she meant to write nothing. I mean, as in she wanted to write nothing was missing, but she wrote nowhere, which clearly doesn't make sense. I think the right answer would have been tanuki out here, which is raccoon dog, which was missing because it had converted back into the kettle. So she slipped on this one, which is okay. I think even I have to apply my brains to correlate it to the story and then find out what's missing. It's really a tough one. Okay. Then the next question is, why did Jimu remember the old man? Remember, I told you the story that Jimu used the kettle which converted into tanuki and vice versa for magic tricks and made a lot of money. And he had taken that kettle from the old man, and without paying any money to him because the old man did not demand any. Uh, so here is a real logic which the child has to apply. They have to understand the story very clearly and try to understand the emotion behind the story, which is why Jimu remembers the old man. And the correct answer is, of course, for us to understand, easy to understand, is that because the old man had given the kettle to Jimu, with which he made a lot of money. So I think Rim Jim completely got confused over here, and maybe she has a sense of it, but had no way to articulate it. So she gave it a pass and left it completely blank. I think the correct answer should have been the old man gave the kettle to Jimu, right? Because the old man gave the kettle to Jimu. That's why Jimu remembered the old man. Anyway, not bad. I think it's quite tough for a 6-year-old to remember the story and understand the emotion behind it of gratitude and then apply it over here and answer the question. I think it's just too much. If I were a 6-year-old, I would have struggled with it for sure. Okay, so in fact, I see now that Rimjim did mention the word kettle. So she has clearly a sense that the old man had given the kettle to Jimu, uh, but she couldn't articulate it that the old man gave the kettle. So Jimu remembered the old man. So she just wrote the word kettle, and and I think the teacher has still given her marks over here. So, well, so be it. Okay, now fill in the blank with the correct word from the box. So now the story is over, and now the generic questions of English start, which all of us, can enjoy. So fill in the blank with the correct word from the box. So the choices are stuffed, chasing, forever. And the question was, the police was dash the thief. Now obviously, it's clear as daylight to us that the police was chasing the thief. So I was quite disappointed with this one that Rimjim did not get it right because I think she understands the word chasing, or maybe she doesn't. But I don't know for what good reason she wrote forever. That doesn't make sense at all. So I taught her later that chasing means that the act of running behind and catching up with someone, and so she understands that, and she should have written chasing the thief. So that was a bad slip, and I think she did not know the word chasing, and now I've taught it to her. So uh, I think she'll be all right in the future. So she lost marks over here. Okay, now here's section B. Here the students are expected to read a passage, and based on the passage they are expected to answer some questions subsequently. It's almost like those MBA when we wrote our MBA, when I wrote my MBA exam, there were long passages which were given, and the students are being tested on short passages over here. So let's read the passage. I have a pet turtle. Its name is Sherry. I keep it in a fish bowl. It has a hard shell. The shell has beautiful patterns. It moves slowly. It has strong legs. It uses its leg for swimming in the fish bowl. I give Sherry a variety of foods like plants, insects, and small fish. Turtles can live for many years. I hope it lives too. Now remember, the children are expected to read this syllable by syllable, make sense of the sentence, and remember it, and then understand the questions. So let's see what the questions are. I drink milk every day to stay, and you fill in the blank with a word from the passage. So I drink milk every day to stay. Well, I think this is very well done. She wrote the word strong because there's a word called strong out here, and I think it's fabulous. In fact, I had to look back into the passage and see what I could use, and she has done the right thing out here. And what does Sherry use for swimming? And naturally, it has strong legs and uses legs for swimming. So Rimjim could fish out the answer properly, and it's strong legs. That's very well done. Which line shows that turtles have long lives? That's where Rimjim must have tried hard, but eventually she couldn't make good of it. Which line shows that the turtles have long lives? She should have written turtles can live for many years, right? So that was a line which should have been mentioned over here, but she thought that since it has strong legs, so it lives, long life and so on. And maybe she found it, she couldn't understand really the question. Which line shows that the turtles have long lives? So she tried to correlate it to some physical aspect of the turtle rather than the grammatical aspect, which is straightforward mentioned over here that turtles can live for many years. So she got it grammatically wrong. Looks like she has a practical bent of mind. She's relating the question to some aspects of the object rather than a dumb line which just states the very same thing which is mentioned in the question. So I don't blame her a lot for it. I think eventually she'll get a hang of it. Okay, section C. Now let's recall this test is for 60 minutes only, and looking at the amount of questions which the children have had to answer in section A and B already, and a lot of time would have been spent over here. So it's a big race against time. And I think this question paper is quite lengthy as well for 60 minutes. Let's see the section C though. So there you have to fill in the blank. So man is holding apparently a pumpkin, and the question says dash is a pumpkin. So this or that. Now since the pumpkin is very close to the person, so I would imagine that this is the correct answer, not that, because that means a little bit far away from you, and so Rimjim got this right. And the next sentence is you have to fill it up with it or he. So mercifully there are choices available over here. The picture shows a guy who looks like a plumber, uh, and uh, he's clearly looking like a man. So the child is expected to understand that the he is a correct answer because it's living human being and looks like a man, so he is a correct pronoun for it, and not it, which is used for non-living things. So he is a correct answer, and Ranjim got it right as well. The next thing is the select the correct table. So there's a common name and there's a special name. So I used to study it back in my school as common nouns and proper nouns and abstract names. It looks like they're not calling them common nouns and proper nouns anymore. They're calling them common name and special name. Well, so be it. So kangaroo, of course, is a common name because it can be any type of kangaroo and so on. And Kashmir, of course, is a proper noun because it's the name of a city and it's unique, name of a state and unique. So therefore, Rimjim got it right, and that that also requires logical thinking. So there we are. She got it right. So they're testing on pronouns. They're testing on nouns. They're testing them on well, there's a whole test is on nouns and pronouns. Okay. Now he says there's a child sitting with some toys. The toys are near him. So the choice is between these are my toys versus those are my toys. So naturally, since the toys are very near the child and the child is speaking himself, presumably, that's why the answer should be these are my toys, which is okay. And then the next question, there's a 15th question, mind you. So already we can see that 60 minutes is so less. Look at the picture and fill in the blank. So here you have to look at the picture, understand each one is what. So you understand that there's a grocery and it's a grocery store, there's a coffee shop out here, and there's a candy shop out here. So you have to fill in the blank. So he said, I went to the coffee dash with my father. Now, what is important over here is that the word coffee is relatable. So the real trick is to fill in the blank of with the choices given out here. So shops and shop. So it's a single shop, and therefore you have to select the shop. Uh, and that's what Ranjit selected. So this one is an easy one, right? Because the choices are between plural and singular, and naturally there's a one shop out here, so the child can easily identify that you right shop out here. Okay, interesting one. So they're testing them on plurals and nouns and pronouns and reading comprehension, memory retention in terms of whatever you've learned as a story. It's quite a test. And then, again fill in the blank, and this time with you and I. So there's a dialogue going on between Amy and Max, and Max is saying, and Amy is saying, Max can dash go to the market with me. So naturally, the child is to understand that Amy is requesting Max, so therefore the pronoun to be used is you. So can you go to the market with me? And then Max answers, no, Amy, I am busy now. So it's actually the child has to understand what's going on as a conversation and who's the second person, who's the first person, and accordingly apply the pronouns. And Rimjim got this one right as well. But again, I think it's quite a challenge for a 6-year-old. And if they're not in a good mood that day or not sharp enough, they can easily miss out on all this. Next sentence, is 17th question. Read the sentences, capitalize and add a full stop. So they're testing them on punctuation and the proper syntax. And rewrite the sentences. So it's sentences. Bina will travel in April. She's very happy. So we can already see that April is the name of the month. So it's a proper noun. So it should be capitalized out here, and then there should be a full stop after April, and that's it. And Rimjim's got that damn right. And so she's written Bina will travel in April. She got the A right out here as capitalization. Got the full stop right. And she is very happy, which is just the way it is, and I think she got that absolutely right. The next question was write a sentence based on the given image using he, she, or it. Now here I think Grimjim did not understand the question properly. The operative word is write a sentence, but by the time she reached the end of the question, she just focused on he, she, or it and wanted to mention it as she thought that she has to mention he, she, or it for this object, and completely forgot that the question is also stating that write a sentence using he, she, or it. So she just wrote the word it for this bee, which is okay. It's an animal, so you can use it, but you write a sentence, and she should have written it is a bee or it's a bumblebee. But I think the teacher was forgiving, and she gave marks to Rimjim over here just for mentioning the word it. But I think she should have lost marks over here. All right, let's proceed. And 19th question. So fill in the blanks with this, that, or these. So here's a tricky one, and I don't know what's the right answer for this. It says stand near dash trees and look at the aeroplane in the sky. Now it depends upon if you're pointing to the trees and the trees are a little bit far away from you, and you're indicating to a second person that they have to go near the trees, which are a little bit distant in distance. So you should have been stand near those trees and look at the aeroplane in the sky. Although teacher has given her marks for these, but I think it should have been stand near those trees and look at the aeroplane in the sky, right? But I don't know. I feel that the answer should have been those. Let me know in the comments if you feel otherwise. The next question, 20th question, no less. Look at the pictures in the box. Fill in the blanks with the correct pair of opposite words. All right. So this is such a logic. It's a pain for me as well. I mean, how can you imagine a 6-year-old to even understand this question? Look at the pictures in the box. Fill in the blanks with the correct pair of opposite words. So you have to look at these pictures and make sense of it. And then the dash child. So if you look at the child is over here as well and over here as well. So you have to eliminate the dash person. So that gives us hint maybe the child and the person are over here because there are two children out here. So child and the person are over here. So we can use this as the logic picture. And then you say the young child must help the old person. So that's how you become the opposites. And you not only should know the opposites, but you should also know these words. So a child is young and the grandmother is old. So I think this is fantastic work by Remjim. She not only remembered the words, the proper words according to the picture, but she also made sure that these are opposites. So I think this is simply fantastic. Should have been more than 1 mark, I suppose, but such is life. All right, section D. The thing is not ending at all. Do as directed. Number the pictures of the events in the order in which they take place. So here the child is looking at the pictures, and it's more like a logic test rather than a language test. But so I don't know why it's in the English test. It's more like a logic test. It doesn't depend on the language English at all. So for example, here's a guy who's who's got dirty clothes, so he comes in front of a washing machine. He opens the washing machine, and then he waits while the washing machine is running, and finally when the washing machine is done, he gets the proper clothes. So that's why this 1, 2, 3, 4, and Rim got it damn right. For a moment, I thought that 3 and 4 could be swapped, but no. Rim is clever, and she got the right order. But again, I don't know why this is an English language exam question. It's got nothing to do with language. It's just logic. Could have been asked in a Hindi test as well. Why not? The next question, the 22nd question. Look at the pictures and fill in the blanks. I went to the garden. It had many beautiful... Okay, now here I think Rimjam slipped. She did identify the word flower because there are flowers out here, but she should have mentioned it in plural. She mentioned it in singular. So it had many. Many itself indicates that, whatever's coming is plural. So it had many beautiful flowers. She should have mentioned the word S out here. In more advanced English, of course, if the question had been framed like this, it had many a beautiful, then the flower would have been the right answer. It had many a beautiful flower. But that's advanced English, not for the 6-year-olds. So it had many beautiful flowers. Flowers with an S is the correct answer. She got the marks. And then I saw a colorful, and this is clearly a butterfly, and Rinjam clearly doesn't know the spelling of butterfly. So she knew it was a butterfly, but she didn't know the spelling, so she wrote something sounding like a butterfly, but clearly far from it, and therefore she lost the marks for it. So she has to work on her spellings. And then the final page, which is look at the picture, write the correct sentence in the blank. So there are choices for the sentences, and there's the small child, and there's a seatbelt out here, so most likely he's in the car. And Rinjam does a lot of road trips for me with me, so she couldn't have got this wrong. And she has mentioned he sits in a car. Even if he was playing chess, she would have got right because she plays chess with me sometimes. Next question, look at the picture and complete the following sentence. The boy blows a, this is a simple one, it's a balloon. The good part is that Jim knows the spelling of the word balloon. I hope this is the right one. Myself get confused sometimes in the spelling of balloon and committee and so on. It's double E, double M, double T, double E, or all those kind of things. Balloon is again double L, double O. I hope this is right, but she got it right. She knows the word balloon. And here's another interesting question. Rearrange the words to form a meaningful sentence. So here the children are supposed to apply their logic. 6-year-old, mind you. So she got it right. I found my blue pen, and I think this test paper was really, really tough. And there's a final question. So look at the pictures and write 3 meaningful sentences. So look at the picture and write 3 meaningful sentences of your own choice. Now let's see what MGM did. She looked at the picture, and then the first sentence she wrote is, he is playing on the mat. Yeah, that's okay. There's a boy, so he would do. She could have written the boy is playing on the mat, which is nice. And the next sentence she wrote, and she forgot to capitalize a T and an H out here. The dog is on the couch. Yes, indeed, the dog is on the couch. Well done. And then she forgot that she had to write three meaningful sentences. So she didn't write the third meaningful sentence. For example, the mom is, or the lady or the woman is sitting on the couch, or the woman is looking at the child, or the fire is burning, and so on. But I think she forgot that she had to write three meaningful sentences. She just wrote two, or maybe she just ran out of time, and that's it. So it's like almost like 25 questions and just 60 minutes. So effectively, almost got just a little over 2 minutes for each question. And 2 minutes is nothing for a 6-year-old. And remember, you have to read the passage. That itself will take 5 minutes and understand that passage, recall the memory, and so on. I think this must have been a race against time. So my judgment is the question paper is tough. It's testing on various dimensions. The time is very short. 60 minutes is too short. But you know, it's a level playing field for all the children, but you will get marks only if you're really, really good. So 24 out of 30 in this paper, I think is super job by RemGem. So well done, RemGem. And Orchids, though it is cruel for the children, but I think you should continue on this line of question papers, because when you throw challenges at the children, only then they will rise to the occasion. So in that sense, I'm happy that Orchids International School South City 1 is posing such challenges in the English paper to the students of grade 1.